Now we're doing the ceafe sample A number 8. And if you look at this choice, it says factor completely, and then it gives us a binomial. When you see a problem like this, you'll notice that there'll be one of the choices that has 3 possibilities, 3 factors. Here we have the 4y, 3x minus 5y, and the 3x plus 5y. You always want to choose the one with 3 choices for the one that says factor completely. Notice all of the others are only factored into 2 terms. This one is factored into 3 terms. That's not the best way of solving it. That's the easiest way, but we'll learn how to solve it now the traditional way. Anyway, so we're going to continue and now solve it the traditional way. We have this binomial that we need to factor. The first step in factoring is always to look for the greatest common factor. So we're looking at the 36, and we're looking at the 100, and we're trying to think of a number that they both have in common. What number goes into the 36 and is going to go into 100? If you want to look at the choices, we can get an idea. There's a 4 in all of the choices, and that's really going to go into both of these values. So we'll factor out a 4. And then you have to look and see if there's a letter that's common to both of them as well. Sometimes there's a number, sometimes there's a letter, sometimes there's both. In this case, there was both. We know that we were able to factor out a 4, but we're also looking, we have an x here, but we don't have any x's here, but we have a y here, and then we have 3 y's there. So let's factor out a y as well. That's our greatest common factor. What would we need to multiply by in order to get back to the original? One easy way of solving this is just dividing each of these by 4y, which was our greatest common factor. Of course, 36 divided by 4 is 9. X squared y divided by y, the y's are going to end up canceling. All we're going to be left with is the x squared. And now we have a negative divided by a positive. That's going to give us a negative. 100 divided by 4 is 25. And then we have 3 y's on top and 1 y on the bottom. It's really like a y to the 1 power. 3 minus 1 is 2. So that's going to be y squared. We're not done yet. This problem is factored, but it's not factored completely. So we're going to still need to factor this binomial into 2 additional binomials. This is the difference between 2 perfect squares. 9x squared and 25y squared are both perfect squares. We're going to break this up into 2 additional binomials. Plus, we'll carry down the 4y. So the 4y is part of my answer, and then I'll break this binomial into 2 additional binomials by factoring. We have to think of what times itself will give us 9x squared. That's going to be 3x, because 3x times 3x gives us the 9x squared. And then what times itself will give us 25y squared? Well, 5 times 5 gives us 25. Y times y gives us y squared. So that'll be a 5y and a 5y. And then put a plus by 1 and a minus by the other, or a minus by 1 and a plus by the other. It wouldn't matter. Either way is correct. We just got to match it up with one of the correct choices. Notice that we have a 4y, a 3x minus 5y, and a 3x plus 5y. We had 3 factors of our original binomial. That's why you always want to choose the one with 3 choices.